Now to the Israel-Hamas war in the Middle East. Tonight, tens of thousands of people descended on the National Mall in Washington for the March of Israel against anti-Semitism. Some of them people from right here in the Tampa Bay area.
We stand with Israel. We stand with Israel.
The demonstration was organized as threats against Jewish people rise across the country. Speakers included lawmakers and family members of the hostages still being held in Gaza. Organizers and the families called for their safe release. Now, the demonstration brought groups from synagogues and Jewish organizations from as far away as California.
Just hours ago, 10 Tampa Bay's Hannah Deneen spoke to a local man who was one of about 170 from our area who made the trip to our nation's capital.
A march for Israel descending upon the U.S. Capitol.
The American Jewish community to share its support, to speak, to be seen, to be heard.
Early this morning, Joe Probasco and more than 170 other people from across Tampa Bay flew to D.C. for the rally.
We looked at this as a community as it's time to show up moment.
He says there were three shared goals among this giant crowd: to denounce anti-Semitism, to demand Hamas release all hostages, and to support Israel.
President Biden know that we stand in lockstep with the administration and everything that they've done in support of Israel through these difficult times.
The streets of D.C. also saw a massive pro-Palestine rally earlier this month with calls for an Israeli ceasefire.
These pro-Israel rallies essentially are calling for unconditional support for what Israel is doing. In our opinion, they're pro-war, they're pro-bloodshed.
But others argue Hamas's October 7th attack can't go unanswered.
So our heart breaks for any Palestinian civilian loss of life. That said, Israel has, as does every other sovereign nation, the unequivocal right to defend itself.
But it appears blame and adequate response is a matter of perspective.
Terrorist orgs say, well, you killed our civilians, so we're going to kill you. We can't use that kind of logic. We need to call for peace and understand what happened didn't happen in a vacuum. It's the result of occupation.
Common ground at home, feeling as distant as peace abroad. Hannah Deneen, 10 Tampa Bay.
The demonstrations today are happening as the war rages on in the Middle East. Israeli troops in Gaza are now surrounding the area's largest hospital. Israel claims Hamas is using the medical center as a command post, but Hamas denies the accusation. And now Palestinian authorities are now proposing a supervised evacuation of the complex there, where many civilians are taking shelter. This, as Hamas says, it is ready to release up to 70 women and children hostages in exchange for a 5-day ceasefire.
Now